psychologically prepare oneself for any result, which lessens fear of the unknown more. Most of the time, you'll discover that even the worst thing that can happen is, managing this doesn't only lessen anxiety, it increases your self-assurance. Now that you've thought to be the worst, it's time to consider how you can make that better. Result: this is where original thought comes in. Arrives: can you act right away to avoid the worst-case situation from occurring, or if it does, how can you manage it in a manner that reduces its impact? This process involves transferring from passive to active, rather than a victim of situations. You're turning into the creator of your solutions that the Stoics firmly believed in, concentrating on what we can manage. And this step involves letting go of what we can't. Represents that philosophy by promoting active participation in life's challenges. By adhering to these 3 actions you take to address anxiety directly, rather than allowing it to rule you, is taking. You take charge of it and determine the issue. You confront it with the bravery to recognize its worst features, and then you apply your logic and imagination to lessen it. This method doesn't simply allay concerns away, it turns them into a strategy of take a course of conduct that the Stoics would accept, since it highlights personal agency and logical reasoning. Keep in mind that the objective is not to never worry, that the aim isn't achievable, is to successfully handle anxiety so that it doesn't prevent you from living anymore. Applying these 3 will help you live your best life. Actions you take to eliminate your anxieties: intimidating. Shadows into doable obstacles that you are prepared to conquer your fears, and do an analysis them for the sake of clarity of mental concerns, are frequently hazy and enigmatic. Figures in our subconscious that are causing tension without our being completely knowing why. To reduce their power, we require to include them in the light and carefully examine the Stoics took a fantastic approach to this. Promoted thorough introspection and contemplation. Marcus Aurelius, for example, frequently wrote about facing his first hand to comprehend their origins and nature. This approach isn't simply being aware of your concerns about, but knowing why it's concerning. You are it since it poses a threat. You cherish it since it hits at a vulnerability or a traumatic event in the past. How to begin this process? Start by putting your problems in writing. The act of writing itself might provide clarification. Ideas that were unclear when only circling in your mind after you putting them on paper makes it simpler to be objective about them. Then ask yourself a few insightful queries about why this concerned me, what could possibly go wrong, occur, and the likelihood that it will. What could be the underlying reason for this? Fear. You'll discover that the source of a worry isn't what you initially believed it to be, possibly something more profound or more. Essentially, this technique involves peeling aside the layers of your nervousness to expose its core, then take into account the what impact do these concerns have. Are they having an impact on how you behave, your back from joys or opportunities? This comprehension might be quite strong since it changes your viewpoint, that shifts you from experiencing concern about comprehending the reasons behind your feelings. That manner, which is the initial phase in taking charge of the emotion. The last phase of the Stoic strategy focuses on rationalization and answer after you've comprehended your concern. It is easier to locate logical, useful strategies to deal with it. This could imply making a change in your life, reconsidering a belief, or perhaps just acknowledging that certain elements of the circumstances are beyond your control. By examining your concerns in this way, you're not only lessening their direct influence. Additionally, you're preparing your head to manage future concerns more successfully. It's similar to how mental conditioning develops over time. You improve your ability to identify your anxieties, patterns, and triggers, and every analysis gets quicker and additional. Effectively, being busy will divert attention. your thoughts away from your daily. This isn't about idly worrying. Use every moment of the day to stay away from your thoughts and instead engage in worthwhile endeavors that demand your whole focus. So naturally, stop worrying too much about the Stoics. We're strong proponents of making use of your time. Seeing time as a valuable resource, the resource that isn't worth wasting on not required, relates to Serbia. One of the most well-known Stoic thinkers produced a great deal of writing regarding the significance of exercising judgment with our endeavors to guarantee that they are significant and not only passing the time spent on activities that are satisfying and consistent with your principles. You don't give much space for concerns to take root, so how might keeping occupied help? Will worry effectively when you're concentrating on a task, be it a job, a pastime, or even an excellent dialogue that takes place in your thoughts. Flow, as psychologists refer to it, is that moment when you're completely engrossed in, you lose sight of what you're doing. When in this condition, there is no mental remaining capacity to worry about the past, or you're completely engrossed with the future. Currently, this may resemble plunging into employment that fascinates and challenges you. Acquiring pastimes that demand your complete focus on physical exercise that is beneficial to your health, in addition to for your thoughts and social relationships that are captivating and rich. Spending time with family or friends, especially in pursuits that keep you. Everyone involved can be a powerful diversion from anxiety. Keep in mind, the being busy isn't the Stoic ideal. It's about making a decision for the sake of it. Actions that have purpose and help you develop personally and well-being. They thought that morality and well-being is intimately related to how we make use of our time. The most important query, what are the likelihood that this inquiry asks us to assess the probability of the concerns we truly visualize in our thoughts going to happen? It's a simple technique, but what defines it is its simplicity. What makes the Stoics so effective? Felt that confronting reality with clarity of judgment and reason when we consider the likelihood that we are making use of this Stoic method of impartial assessment. This query aids in calming our anxieties. Actually, instead of allowing them to amidst a sea of illogical possibilities, consider it this way. How frequently have you been concerned about something, only to discover the result wasn't quite as awful as you believed, that human brains are highly skilled at constructing situations that are much worse than reality? By pausing to calculate the likelihood, we compel ourselves to think about real information and reasoning that can greatly lessen the severity of our concerns. Here's how you could use this to think about historical information or prior encounters if you fear that you won't pass a test. How many examinations have you actually taken, failed in spite of identical concerns? For instance, the statistical likelihood if an aircraft crash terrifies you. Examining the actual data can be, comfortingly, logically examine the situational analysis of what would have to occur in order for your concern to become reality and determine the likelihood of each step. This approach not only lowers the sensation of unease, yet it also brings clarity in the way you make decisions. It enables you to distinguish what's feasible based on what is frequently and probably. You'll discover that the majority of our fears are much less plausible than we believe. That altering your mindset will be beneficial. To approach you. The Stoics thought that happiness was, events themselves don't bother us, but our assessments of them. By altering our mindsets, we can alter our emotional reactions, and here's how to begin to alter your mindset by making the decision to look for the positive. This is not about ignoring the drawbacks, but about striking a balance between viewpoint for each negative idea. Strive to locate a favorable if you're concerned about a significant presentation at work, rather than reflecting concerning what might go wrong. Concentrate on the chances it offers for development and acknowledgement. Embrace the notion of amor fati is a Latin expression that is used by the Stoics, which means to love fate or the love of one's fate. Accepting everything that occurs in your life. Whether it's good or terrible, this doesn't mean to be passive. It's about taking action, accepting life and learning from one another. It's simple to practice thankfulness, to concentrate on what's not working or what we fall short of by intentionally changing our pay attention to what we have and what is happening. Well, we foster a more upbeat and start or end your day with a robust mindset. By stating 3 things for which you are thankful. For this easy exercise can greatly affect your overall. Changing your outlook won't change your attitude. About suppressing your feelings or acting as though nothing is wrong when it's not about deciding to reply. Facing the difficulties of life with an attitude that highlights resilience and progress positivity, which is beneficial for more than just taking care of concerns, builds a foundation. For a more contented and joyful life is a backhanded form of criticism. Criticism and praise are 2 things that everybody has experiences, and they can either be a source of development or a tool for quite uncomfortable. However, here's an intriguing twist on it that is visible via through a Stoic viewpoint. What if we looked at a backhanded praise in the form of criticism? This viewpoint has the power to change the entire transition from defensiveness to among opportunity to learn a lot from the Stoics regarding perception and its influence beyond our emotional answers to the Stoic philosophy of Epictetus' renowned statement that it's not what happens to you, but what matters is how you respond to it. This is particularly valid in relation to addressing criticism rather than recognizing it as a negative right-away condemnation or an assault. But what if you could consider it an indication that you're anything important enough to warrant? Take note of how you can begin to shift your viewpoint on criticism initially. Take into account that the criticism is the source, from a person you admire and admiration, if it's worth it. Thinking carefully about if it's coming from someone who continuously undercuts, it's probably more about them than others. You search for the glimmer of reality even in the most ostensibly unjust critique. There's usually something to learn, needs modesty and a little separation to filter offensive language in order to discover a lesson, yet doing so may amazing expansion, focused on considering the purpose was the critique intended to be helpful, if accepting it can result in important enhancements, if it was meant to cause harm. It reflects the critic's own thoughts, challenges that are not yours via reinterpreting critique in this manner. Not just you lessen its pain, but you also change, transforming it into something that might improve your improvement on both a personal and professional level. Rose's stern demeanor is not about ignoring or repressing your emotions. Valid criticism instead. It's about getting a brighter complexion and thicker skin idea of what you hope to accomplish, about utilizing each piece of criticism as a stepping stone as opposed to a roadblock. The emotional and mental exile fatigue will enable you to create a more optimistic. Let's discuss something in the future that affects everyone at some point or another, is the sensation that exhausted not by physical effort, but from the ongoing anxiety and tension and the daily life's emotional roller coasters. It's imperative to address this tiredness, rather than not only for our health today, but also for constructing a more sustainable and brighter the future of we, the Stoics, recognized the significance of preserving equilibrium between activity and contemplation, promoting for a way of life that fosters both the spirit and the intellect they imparted. Because we have limited energy, and that way we decide to allocate our time, and emotional reserves have a direct effect on our Marcus Aurelius quality of life in his meditation, highlights the significance of preserving our internal resources and offering advice us to limit our activities to those that are vital and consistent with our principles. So how can we begin to eradicate this type of exhaustion and refuel our internal stockpiles, set priorities and simplify your appearance? At your promises, and are there duties or obligations? Actions that aren't really in line with your principles or make you happy? Maybe it's time to refuse or assign those. Simplifying chores doesn't mean performing less work. It is about making less for the sake of less. Greater space for activities that are sincerely satisfying. Practice presence and attentiveness. A large portion of our mental and emotional exhaustion results from focusing on the past or fretting about what lies ahead by genuinely concentrating on the here and now. By using it, we can provide energy. It would often be used for ineffective. It's crucial to set boundaries and not worry. For preserving mental well-being. Clearly define boundaries with others about your time and effort, which isn't self-serving. Essential for boundaries. For self-preservation aid, safeguard you against being overworked and enable you to devote more of your focus to prudently consistent. Spend some time reflecting on yourself. Your feelings and ideas, what's stressing you out? Are there trends or triggers that are recognizable? And discussing Stoicism is more than just advocating consciousness, as well as proactive management of a person's inner life that includes these procedures that lessen the strain on your emotional and mental abilities, such as taking an extended break from your body, a day of physical work that leaves your head feeling. Not only is rest healthy, but it's vital since it enables you to recuperate from the strains of everyday life and rejuvenate. Your batteries are regularly. We often consider sleep to be simply a method to restore the physical pH of although it's much more than that. Essential foundation for both our bodily and mental well-being are essential for keeping equilibrium and well-being in our. The Stoics are always realistic about the requirements of the mind and body, highlighted living in balance with the environment, as well as adhering to the natural Seneca's waking and sleeping cycles. For instance, the revitalizing the importance of sleep as a moment of spiritual rest, when we can let go of our troubles and give ourselves to recuperate from the hardships of the day. Without enough sleep, our bodies cannot heal. Muscles that strengthen the immune system or appropriately control hormones. This isn't just about getting enough sleep. It's about allowing your body the necessary time to carry out necessary upkeep and repairs. Sleep has a significant impact on how we think, learn, and retain while you're asleep. Our brains interpret the data that we've absorbed during the day, form relationships, and solidify memories after getting enough sleep. The mind is more creative and efficient. Able to solve sleep-related problems greatly affects our emotions, and lack of sleep might affect emotional resiliency, make us agitated, stressed, and regular sleep causes emotional instability. Aids in regulating our behavior and keep a more composed and stoic attitude in the face of everyday obstacles to enhance your. Think about these suggestions to create a consistent sleep routine, get into bed, and awaken each day at the same hour. Your body's slumber is reinforced by constancy. Wake cycles foster a calm atmosphere. This indicates chilly, peaceful, and cozy. Make your bedroom a sleep haven. Reduce the amount of time spent on screens before bed. Blue light produced by tablets, phones, and computers may impede the capacity to wind down and go to sleep. Before, establish a bedtime ritual that tells your body that it's time to go to sleep. This can entail reading softly. Remember to stretch or practice meditation. Any Stoic exercises that help you sleep better. Is about choosing carefully. It's about realizing the crucial role that sleep plays in our general health, and prioritizing it in your everyday routine. By making sure you receive adequate good sleep, you're not only becoming better, you're putting yourself at risk for your health. For a more fruitful, pleasurable, and in balance, life masters concerns about employment and finances. A straightforward strategy. These are among the most typical causes of stress for a lot of individuals because they have the potential to significantly impact our thoughts. But the thing is that by embracing a straightforward strategy influenced by Stoic principles that will help us deal with these concerns more successfully and discover more tranquility. Keep your attention on your behavior rather than the results in work. Focus on doing. Give it your all each and every day. Keep learning and developing and allow the outcomes look after themselves. So this can alleviate the strain of feeling as though everything depends on a particular result or objective. Make a budget and keep to it. Financial concerns frequently arise from feeling unmanageable. By establishing up a budget. The budget, you're regaining authority. You are fully aware of where your money is. Proceeding, which can greatly lower anxiety, is more than just cutting costs. It's important to make educated choices that fit your financial situation. Values and objectives provide an emergency fund. Stoicism 101. Get ready for the having a financial cushion might help with unforeseen, give comfort and lessen anxiety. Being aware that you're ready for life's unexpected surprises have an impact on what Stoicism teaches about success, us to be satisfied with what we do, and virtues as opposed to material gains. Likewise, redefining achievement in your career could entail concentrating more on your professional development and contentment, instead of only pay or promotions increases. Embracing a Stoic attitude regarding money and employment entails observing these elements of existence not as origins of stress, but as chances to practice attributes such as self-control, knowledge, and courage. Is the realization that although we are able to direct our professional and finance ships that are meticulously planned and hard work, we have no authority over the seas themselves. Control. I appreciate you being here with me today. Undertake this adventure through overseeing our concerns with a dash of Stoic insight. Never forget the ability to transform your life is not found in what happens to, but in how you respond to them. With confidence, embrace each day and concentrate on what really counts, and allow your actions to talk about the principles you cherish. I wish to dive after finding this disc useful. Further toward leading a more steady and meaningful life, have a look at the recommended videos on your screen, and I appreciate that you participating in the Stoic Journal community. Keep strong until the next time. Remain sensible and continue to find happiness in the travel.